From pellagra to cholesterol, niacin. B vitamins are a group of water-soluble vitamins that are interrelated. They are popularly known as B-complex. They comprise 8 vitamins: thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pantothenic acid, pyridoxine, cyanocobalamin, biotin and folic acid. Otherwise, B1, B2, B3, B6, B12, biotin and folic acid. 2 other related nutrients are called quasi-vitamins. They can be made in the body and therefore strictly can't be called as vitamins. They are choline and inositol. B-complex vitamins together are responsible for essential bodily functions. They are responsible for the maintenance of the nervous system, good mental health, energy metabolism and efficient digestion. Niacin is an important vitamin of the B-complex group. It was known as nicotinic acid in 1867, and then was isolated from yeast in 1913. It was recognized as a cure to pellagra during 1937. Pellagra was a common disease in Spain and Italy during the 18th century. In Italian, pellagra means skin that is rough. Pellagra is characterized by 3 Ds, dermatitis, dementia and diarrhea. In pellagra, skin develops cracked, scaly dermatitis. The brain does not function properly. Diarrhea results from an impaired mucus lining of the gastrointestinal tract. Niacin is resistant to heat, oxidation and alkalis, which makes it a more stable vitamin. Nicotinic acid or niacin in the body gets converted into nicotinamide. It is a part of coenzymes essential for the metabolism of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. Niacin is a general description which includes nicotinic acid and nicotinamide or niacinamide. Both are commonly known as vitamin B3. Coenzyme NAD. Tissues in the body convert absorbed niacin into its main metabolically active form, the coenzyme nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD. More than 400 enzymes require NAD to catalyze reactions in the body. It is more than for any other vitamin-derived coenzyme. NAD is also converted into another active form, the coenzyme nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, NADP. It occurs in all tissues except skeletal muscle. NAD and NADP are required in most metabolic redox processes. In cells where substrates are oxidized or reduced. NAD is primarily involved in catabolic reactions that transfer the potential energy in carbohydrates, fats, and proteins to adenosine triphosphate, ATP. ATP is the cell's primary energy currency. NAD is also required for enzymes involved in critical cellular functions, like for the maintenance of genome integrity, control of gene expression, and cellular communication. NAD, in contrast, enables anabolic reactions, such as the synthesis of cholesterol and fatty acids, and plays a critical role in maintaining cellular antioxidant function. Most dietary niacin is in the form of nicotinic acid and nicotinamide. But some foods contain small amounts of NAD and NAD. The body also converts some tryptophan, an amino acid in protein, to NAD. Therefore tryptophan is considered as a dietary source of niacin. Niacin deficiency. Severe niacin deficiency leads to pellagra, a disease characterized by a pigmented rash or brown discoloration on skin exposed to sunlight. The skin also develops a roughened, sunburned-like appearance. In addition, pellagra can cause a bright red tongue and changes in the digestive tract that lead to vomiting, constipation, or diarrhea. Symptoms of pellagra. The neurological symptoms of pellagra can include depression, apathy, headache, fatigue, loss of memory that can progress to aggressive, paranoid, and suicidal behaviors, and auditory and visual hallucinations. As pellagra progresses, anorexia develops, and the affected individual eventually dies. Pellagra is uncommon in industrialized countries' populations. It is mostly limited to people living in poverty, such as refugees. Also, among displaced people who eat very limited diets low in niacin and protein. Pellagra was not uncommon in the early 20th century among individuals under poverty, especially in the southern United States and parts of Europe. Because of their limited diets consisted mainly of corn. The World Health Organization recommends treating pellagra with 300 mg/day nicotinamide in divided doses for 3 to 4 weeks, along with a B complex or yeast product to treat likely deficiencies in other B vitamins. Although niacin deficiencies leading to pellagra are very rare in the United States, some individuals have marginal or low niacin status. Groups at risk of niacin inadequacy. Niacin inadequacy usually arises from insufficient intakes of foods containing niacin and tryptophan. It can also be caused by factors that reduce the conversion of tryptophan to niacin, such as low intakes of other nutrients. The following groups are among those most likely to have inadequate niacin status. People with undernutrition. People who are undernourished because they live in poverty or have anorexia. Alcohol use disorder, AIDS, inflammatory bowel disease, or liver cirrhosis. Often have inadequate intakes of niacin and other nutrients. People with inadequate riboflavin, pyridoxine, and/or iron intakes. People who do not consume enough riboflavin, vitamin B2, pyridoxine, vitamin B6, or iron convert less tryptophan to niacin because enzymes in the metabolic pathway for this conversion depend on these nutrients to function. Hurtnup disease. People with hurtnup disease. Hurtnup disease is a rare genetic disorder involving the renal, intestinal, and cellular transport processes for several amino acids, including tryptophan. The disease interferes with the absorption of tryptophan in the small intestine and increases its loss in the urine via the kidneys. As a result, the body has less available tryptophan to convert to niacin. People with carcinoid syndrome. Carcinoid syndrome is caused by slow-growing tumors in the gastrointestinal tract that release serotonin and other substances. It is characterized by facial flushing, diarrhea, and other symptoms. In those with carcinoid syndrome, tryptophan is preferentially oxidized to serotonin and not metabolized to niacin. As a result, the body has less available tryptophan to convert to niacin. Interactions with medications. Niacin can interact with certain medications. Several types of medications might adversely affect niacin levels. A few examples are provided below. Individuals taking these and other medications on a regular basis should discuss their niacin status with their doctor. Isoniazid and pyrazinamide. Isoniazid and pyrazinamide are used to treat tuberculosis. They are structural analogs of niacin and interrupt the production of niacin from tryptophan by competing with the vitamin B6-dependent enzyme required for this process. In addition, isoniazid can interfere with niacin's conversion to NAD. Although pellagra can occur in patients with tuberculosis treated with isoniazid, it can be prevented with increased intakes of niacin. Anti-diabetic medications. Large doses of nicotinic acid can raise blood glucose levels by causing or aggravating insulin resistance and increasing hepatic production of glucose. Some studies have found that nicotinic acid doses of 1.5 grams/day or more are most likely to increase blood glucose levels in individuals with or without diabetes. People who take any anti-diabetic medications should have their blood glucose levels monitored if they take high-dose nicotinic acid supplements concomitantly, because they might require dose adjustments. Groups at risk for deficiency. Limited diets, people whose diets are limited in both variety and quantity of foods, such as those living in poverty or who are very ill and cannot eat a balanced diet, are at increased risk. Developing countries that eat corn or maize as a main food source are at risk for pellagra, as these foods are low in both absorbable niacin and tryptophan. Chronic alcoholism, the absorption of several nutrients, particularly water-soluble vitamins including the B family, is decreased with excessive alcohol intake. Carcinoid syndrome. This is a disease of slow-growing cancer cells in the gut that release a chemical called serotonin. The syndrome causes tryptophan in the diet to be converted into serotonin rather than niacin, which increases the risk of decreased niacin. Toxicity when eating foods containing niacin is rare, but can occur from long-term use of high-dose supplements. A reddened skin flush with itchiness or tingling on the face, arms, and chest is a common sign. Flushing occurs mainly when taking high-dosage supplements in the form of nicotinic acid, rather than nicotinamide. Other signs: dizziness, low blood pressure, fatigue, headache, upset stomach, nausea, blurred vision, impaired glucose tolerance and inflammation of liver in severe cases at very high doses of 3,000 to 9,000 mg daily for several months/years. If you have liver disease, peptic ulcer disease or severe low blood pressure, don't take large amounts of niacin. The supplement has been linked with liver damage, can cause hypotension and might activate a peptic ulcer. Taking niacin also might worsen allergies, gallbladder disease and symptoms of certain thyroid disorders. If you have diabetes, niacin can interfere with blood glucose control. Use niacin with caution if you have the complex form of arthritis gout. Niacin can cause an excessive uric acid in the blood, called hyperuricemia, putting you at risk of gout. If you're pregnant, don't take prescription niacin for high cholesterol. However, if needed to prevent or treat niacin deficiency, niacin is likely safe to take during pregnancy and in breastfeeding women when used in recommended amounts. Interactions. Possible interactions include alcohol. Taking niacin with alcohol might increase the risk of liver damage and worsen niacin side effects, such as flushing and itching. Allopurinol, Xyloprim. If you're taking niacin and have gout, you might need to take more of this gout medicine to control your gout. Anticoagulant and antiplatelet drugs, herbs and supplements. These types of drugs, herbs and supplements reduce blood clotting. Taking niacin with them might increase your risk of bleeding. Blood pressure drugs. Blood pressure drugs, herbs and supplements. Niacin might have an additive effect when you take blood pressure drugs, herbs or supplements. This could increase your risk of low blood pressure, hypotension. Chromium. Taking niacin with chromium might lower your blood sugar. If you have diabetes and take niacin and chromium, closely monitor your blood sugar levels. Diabetic drugs. If you have diabetes, niacin can interfere with blood glucose control. You might need to adjust the dose of your diabetic drugs. Hepatotoxic drugs, herbs and supplements. These drugs, herbs and supplements, like niacin, cause liver damage. Statins. Research indicates that taking niacin with these cholesterol medications offers little additional benefit when compared with statins alone, and might increase the risk of side effects. Zinc. Taking zinc with niacin might worsen niacin side effects, such as flushing and itching. Everyone needs a certain amount of niacin, from food or supplements, for the body to function normally. This amount is called the dietary reference intake, DRI, a term that is replacing the older and more familiar RDA, recommended daily allowance. For niacin, the DRIs vary with age and other factors and are given in milligrams of niacin equivalents. Children, between 2 to 16 milligrams daily, depending on age. Men, 16 milligrams daily. Women, 14 milligrams daily. Women, pregnant, 18 milligrams daily. Women, breastfeeding, 17 milligrams daily. Maximum daily intake for adults of all ages, 35 milligrams daily. Sum up. From the days of being identified for the treatment of pellagra, niacin has come a long way. Niacin aids in cell respiration. It produces energy from sugar, fat and protein. Needed for integrity of skin. Promotes healthy digestion. Relieves migraine headaches. Helpful in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. Stimulates sex drive. Necessary for the synthesis of sex hormones, cortisone, thyroxin and insulin. May be beneficial in diabetes. Niacin is regarded as one of the substances of choice to lower cholesterol. Reduces blood pressure. Niacin significantly reduces the risk of death among those who have had heart attacks. Prevents or cures schizophrenia, depression and some other mental disorders. Protects against and detoxifies pollutants, alcohol, narcotics. If niacin has to be used in doses in excess of 100 mg per day, consult your doctor. Single nicotinic acid supplements are contraindicated in people suffering from gout, diabetes, stomach ulcers and liver disease. Alcohol inhibits the metabolism of niacin. Sleeping pills, estrogen and excessive food processing destroy its efficacy. Niacin is found in both plant and animal foods. Meat and fish eaters have no problem in obtaining niacin from their diet. Vegans too can get niacin from raw peanuts, brown rice and seeds.